Hello, hello, and welcome to Journey into Ethical Hacking. From curiosity to digital defender, a journey into ethical hacking and the art of becoming an ethical hacker. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so privileged that Hardly Strictly Security and Project Discovery asked me to be a part of this and to give out my opinions and my thoughts on how one can go from essentially zero, not knowing much, to being deep into ethical hacking. Like I said, my name is Steven Staten. I also go by Fresh Coffee. You can find me on different social medias with that tag. I have 6 years of experience in cybersecurity. I'm currently working as an independent security researcher and ethical hacker. I also have experience in government and private sectors, as well as working as a security engineer and a senior security analyst. Currently, I hold the SANS GCIH, the GSNA, and I'm working towards the SANS GCFE, which focuses on Windows forensics. Currently, I'm training to perform more pen testing, engaging in bug bounty programs. Those take a lot of work. I'm really working hard to study hard and really learn a lot more. Interesting things about me: deeply love to travel, love going out into the world to places that I've never been before, languages I can't speak, makes you uncomfortable, learn people, and just really, really enjoy meeting all sorts of different people. Recently, we came back from Costa Rica. It's a wonderful place. My favorite trip I've taken, obviously from the photo in the background, is visiting Japan, because that was me and my wife atop the Tokyo Skytree. And currently, we're planning our trip to DEF CON 32. I've never had the opportunity to go. Really, really excited to get out there and just meet everybody, see all sorts of the cool exhibits they have. So, have to give a disclaimer. Obviously, all the information presented in this talk for the Hardly Strictly Security Conference is for completely and totally educational purposes only. Techniques, tools, procedures, ideas, or any suggestions that I give that are discussed or intended for cybersecurity and professionals to improve their understanding of the path of becoming an ethical hacker and improve their skill set. It is extremely important to note that the information shown and discussed by me, the presenter, is of my own opinion, unless I reference it otherwise or put it in the references tab to experience and show what I've gained through my time. When performing any type of security assessment, pen test, ethical hacking engagement, it is unbelievably crucial to get written approval, written or through email that can be stored from the entity's leadership. Absolutely do not hack without permission. It may seem fun. You see it through the movies, you see it through all sorts of shows. It is 100% not worth it. They will find you, and it is not worth it. So now that all the scary stuff is gone, objectives here. Objectives are to teach you ethical hacking, show you different ideas, and to understand that ethical hacking is an extremely popular and heavily used phrase. Throughout this talk, we are hoping to learn and cover the following concepts. At the end, I hope you have a better understanding of all of the concepts and are you inspired to take the next step into ethical hacking. Some of the stuff that we're going to cover is going to be, what is ethical hacking? Some people don't know. It's heavily taught. There's different interpretations. We will go and dive into what are the differences in the types of hacking. Then we will actually go into the breakdown of each hacking types and provide real world examples. Then next objective, we're going to talk about how you begin your journey or other people's journey into ethical hacking. Then we're going to talk about education. May seem boring, but education. It's so important. There are all different types of platforms, and there's all different types of ways that you yourself or your people that work for you or anyone that you want to involve in there, there's different types of ways they can learn education, from traditional to using open source tools and to using third-party tools to get that education. And then we're going to go into essential skills and learn certification to start your journey and improve. And then we're going to go into immersion and keeping yourself updated at all times. It is crucial to be able to go keep yourself in the news at all times, learn things because it changes by the hour. And then we're going to talk about some open source tools. We're going to talk about all sorts of different things because there is a treasure trove of open source tools for you and your journey to test and learn. And then a path forward and some final words. So with that, let's get rocking. What is ethical hacking? Ethical hacking, also known as penetration testing or white hat hacking, is the practice of using the same or advanced techniques that hackers use, or black hat hackers, which we'll learn the definition of that in a little bit, to test and improve the security of a network, system, organization, or its employees. This is usually accomplished through gaining approval from the organization or the entity, and then using custom and open source tools to test for weaknesses or misconfigurations. So different types of hackings. Hacking ideology and motives typically come in three forms. We're going to talk about white hat hacking. These are typically known as the good guys, the ones that you see that are in the news. You could say different types of governments. They hire, hopefully, white hat hackers, and they have the intention of performing ethical and moral hacking for helping to test for security configurations to make organizations a lot better, to make them stronger, to make them less vulnerable. Typically, they use their talents to secure and find those vulnerabilities and misconfigurations. Gray hat hackers are a little bit more complicated. They reside in the morally ambiguous realm of sometimes they have good intentions, sometimes they don't follow the law or the procedures that are put in place in order to, maybe lean more towards the white hat hacking side. These individuals, like I said, operate in a morally ambiguous area. They're neither good nor bad. They will, a lot of the times, be motivated by certain things. They may be rubbed the wrong way to lead to their actions, but they can go either way. Black hat hackers, they're the ones you always see in the news. They're the ones you see nonstop. They're the ones of other nation-state actors. These are the individuals that have malicious intent when using their skills as hackers or cybersecurity professionals. They typically operate outside the law. They see the law, they either think that doesn't apply to me, or I'm going to go around it to get to my goal. So, white hat hacking. We got 4 points that we can go through to get a better understanding of it. Typically, like said, these are the good people. They are typically the ones that are recognized as protectors of networks. They're the ones that ensure that the systems and networks are protected and configured, and they get to use their skills and training in order to put those configurations to work. And then you have detective work. Detective work, my own personal experience, I grew up watching a lot of crime shows. I never really wanted to go down the path of becoming a police officer to become a detective, because that's typically the path that has to go. So I was like, how can I do this cool detective work of using certain skill sets, solving complex problems? And white hat hacking and ethical hacking is that thing that you can do to where if you enjoy doing complex problems and understanding ways to get around, solving stuff, what you can do through this is they do detective work. White hat hackers continuously train, and they have a deep understanding of how all types of hackers work. Much like a detective, they actively learn, read, search for vulnerabilities within the network system. Point number 3, white hat hackers, they typically are the ethics part. They, although possessing the exact same talents as black hat hackers, they're the ones that choose to stay within the boundaries of the law, and as well as the boundaries set by a leadership of an organization or the law of their government or a specific entity. White hat hackers always, like I said, they obtain written permission to test vulnerabilities on a given target. I absolutely cannot push that hard enough that you need to make sure that you are getting written permission, or anyone on your team, anyone that's performing it is getting written permission to do these tests. And white hat hackers, they're always learning. White hat hackers have a constant yearning for learning and having a specific learning mindset. In the security industry, things change by the hour. They change by the minute sometimes. In the future, we'll go down and we'll see to where you can put yourselves on certain lists to get notifications. They'll go off a lot because there's stuff always happening. In order to get ahead and to make sure that your client or the organization that you work for, your team works for, it's very, very important to know how to continue to hone those skills, to train, and then to defend against threats. The next type of hacker we have is gray hat hackers. Like I said before, they operate within a realm of neither good nor bad. They typically, as gray hat hackers, will serve many different intentions, and they have many different intentions for their hacking skill set. gray hat hackers will more often than not even ask for permission to do much of anything within they operate. But pretty much what they're trying to do is they're just trying to report issues. They typically will go and they will maybe not see a speed that they like for a vulnerability to be patched. So that's where it leads to their questionable actions. And also their questionable morals. Gray hat hackers will often operate between ethical and unethical moral behaviors. Although it could be argued that they have good intentions, you'll see within certain circumstances that behind the scenes of something good they did, they might be doing something bad, they might be involved in this or that. You'll see to where the morals get a little bit gray, if you will. They're often aggressive negotiators. Gray hat hackers will often submit vulnerabilities and demand action from the company or the organization they have found the vulnerabilities of. Within that, they'll reach out, they'll shoot them an email, they'll do something to where they talk to them on social media, and they'll basically demand saying, hey, I've got a 1 through 5 critical vulnerability that you need to have patched. And what will happen is, unfortunately, some companies don't move that fast. They've got to go through their own processes. They've got to go through and get the right people. And then it might not go at the speed that the gray hat hacker wants to see stuff done. So unfortunately, what they'll do is they'll say, hey, you've got until this time, or I'm going to put this publicly. And that could lead to potentially the whole world even finding out that there's vulnerabilities within the system, which maybe it's questionable to see which way is best. Let them do their process, which is slow, or stuff needs to get patched, especially if that company is pretty much behind something that could have really critical user information. They're also surprise protectors. Gray hat hackers have been known and will often submit vulnerabilities without the organization even knowing that it's being tested. They'll sometimes fix them and then directly reach out, like I said previously, through normal communication or through social media saying, hey, I found this vulnerability, I went in and I fixed it. So, make sure you do better next time. Or they'll do something less like that and then they'll say, hey, this is fixed. The last type of hacker we typically see is the black hat hacker. These are the ones that you always see within the news. You always see them causing all sorts of trouble, constantly going through, and you see them in social media feeds. These are the people that are typically the ones that we view as criminals, are the ones that are the most radical. Black hat hackers are typically profit motivated. Black hat hackers are extremely profit motivated, and they will often participate in activities like ransomware attacks, identity theft, financial fraud. Sometimes they're politically motivated. You've seen countless stories of people that are within countries. They look at another country and they're viewing as something they're doing as atrocious or appalling. They don't agree with it, and they're going to take it in their hands with the skill set they have nurtured for so long and really worked hard on to go and exploit and hurt that country through many different things, hacking infrastructure, many different types of ways that they can hurt a country or a political opponent, someone they disagree with. These people are notorious for hacking and having activities for political ideology. This is commonly known as hacktivism, and we will continue to look through that through these slides. Their anonymity is key. Obviously, committing crimes, they don't want to get caught. Why would they want to get caught? Because they're doing things that are very nefarious, or they're hurting individuals, countries, large groups of people. They'll go to extreme lengths to ensure that their identity is secure, absolutely unknown. This is typically because of the nature of their hacks and their behavior is illegal. This is essential for them as they could face serious repercussions if they're caught. These people are very skillful, but their actions are malicious. So whether they're skillful or not, what they're doing is morally wrong, or it can hurt people. Black hat hackers are some of the most talented and skillful hackers in the industry. They possess a wide range of talents for malware creation, OSINT collection, and crafting malicious software. So with all that, here are some real-world examples of each. Each of these are shown to where the same thing, black hat, gray hat, white hat hackers, they're all shown in here. So here's some examples of white hat hacking. Typically, like I said, these are the good guys that are doing things, or they're good programs. So first example, the United States Department of Defense. They basically began hacking in the 1960s away from business and governments to test emerging technologies and vulnerabilities. Today, many organizations use white hat hackers to test vulnerabilities, and they'll offer a monetary reward which you may have commonly heard as bug bounty hunting. There are many, many sites that are basically will go through and you can join into a program or a small project, and then you can work towards finding vulnerabilities, and they'll typically range from low informational, that's more of like a pat on the back, thank you for doing that, to critical vulnerabilities to where, the prizes can go infinity and beyond. Recently, the Department of Defense paid out $75,000 to hackers who were a part of an initiative to alert the Pentagon of vulnerabilities and fix them before they could be exploited. These are ethical hackers at work and making money off of it. There are some ethical hackers that are even making a full-time living off just doing ethical hacking and bug bounty work. Now, that sounds great, but that's a lot of hard work. That's a lot of education and studying as much as you can. Another example is the Pwn2Own in Vancouver. In 2024, this is recent, computer hacking contest that's held globally, and it's common to see incredible demonstrations of hacking, multi-chain exploitations of vulnerabilities, and then giving out huge bounty prizes that are given to teams that participate. A lot of these bounties are given out by top leading and cutting edge organizations like Windows, which is Microsoft, Ubuntu, Oracle, VMware, Tesla, Chrome. A lot of these things is where you first saw the first Tesla hack, to where they're able to hack that and then they got a huge bounty. It's very common to see that these exploits and findings here are patched by the affected vendors because they see it done and they want to get it out because they know once it's shown to the world that people are going to try to exploit it. Our next example of gray hat hacking is, funny enough, Mr. White Hat and Poly Network. Poly Network is one of the largest cryptocurrency thefts to date, and this hacker stole almost $600 million of USD of digital tokens. Poly Network is a decentralized finance platform, which is typically focused on a lot of cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. And this had a vulnerability in its network exploited by the hacker that called himself, funny enough, Mr. White Hat. And then since the initial theft, the story grew stranger by the day. Not only did Mr. White Hat maintain a public and steady discord with the network, he also returned everything that he stole from them a week later. At one point, they even offered him a job and then a bounty of $500,000 to return all the stolen stuff. And then you can see another example here of Alexia the micro routers. You see a lot of these examples like this of Russian-speaking gray hat hacker who use illegal methods within the micro tick vulnerability. In fact, in order to make the help and his victims more secure, he boasted about these exploits on a very large Russian-speaking language blog and left notes of which of the routers. Most of the routers he affected, he went in, he actually fixed them and then let people know. And then, of course, examples like I said previously, the Black Hat hacking group, Lapis ransomware group, you've heard of them. These are just examples of them constantly going and they're trying to exploit, steal information, steal employee information. And then you can see another one that happened not too long ago, and some people may even be affected. The 23andMe hack. There were 14,000 accounts that were directly leveraged and stolen and then released on the dark web of that information. This stuff really happens and it's terrifying, especially when it's your own DNA, then people can find out a ton about you. So where do we go from here? How can we start our journey as an ethical hacker? Over the next couple of slides, we're going to go through some of the paths that are my own opinions and some experience of how we can do this. Ideas in the past shown will be education and where to find it, some certifications you can get, how to use platforms like social medias and third parties, and then also creating your own custom feeds to get information to keep yourself immersed. Like I said, education, education, education. This is the best and most effective training way to keep yourself sharp and to use the tools and assets and always be a continuous student. Because like I said, it changes by the minute to the hour. And the education is good for you to be the best that you can be within the organization. So some different options you have before you. You could have the traditional route of going to college, which is not in any way a bad choice. It just typically tends to be more expensive and takes a lot more time. You can take the route of certifications. Certifications have been around for decades, and they have really, over time now, you can argue that they've gotten even better and can be compared to traditional learning. The alternative is this could be a budget-friendly option, and sometimes it's not, and sometimes you have to pile up to get to what you would get in the traditional way. Open source options include different sites that you can go through, and sometimes they even offer They could even offer custom certifications or training programs. Some notable certifications. Like I said in the beginning, I hold 2 and soon to be 3 SAN certifications. They're wonderful, they're intense, but they're great information. EC Council gives the Certified Ethical Hacking course, the Offensive Security Certification, the OSCP, and then the IC2, and then CompTIA. These are all wonderful organizations. Some examples here, as you can see within SANS, this is a roadmap that I made up to where you can start. You can start at the SEC 504 to where you can start with hacker tools and techniques, and then go into web app pen testing. Then you can go into enterprise pen testing. Then you can potentially go into wireless testing and ethical hacking. And then you can progressively move into advanced testing and exploitation. And then you can go for one of their higher ones is advanced exploits and development. EC Council, this is another one to where you can start with a potential skills roadmap. There are a large number of these certifications, but I just narrowed it down to 3 that I think could be beneficial. You can start with a certified security specialist, and then you can go to the certified ethical hacker course, and then you can move to the licensed penetration tester test. They offer a lot more, and they even offer an online university where courses will be around $1,300 a class, totaling to about $27,000 if you go there. CompTIA, this you will very likely, if you go to CompTIA for the first time, they just have pages of certifications. I narrowed it down to where some of these, and this is the path that I would take. Some of these you may have, some of these you may never seen. So CompTIA, you can get the Network Plus, then you can go to the Security Plus, move to the Linux Plus, Server Plus, and then you can take either route of going to Pen Test Plus or the CYSA Plus. My best advice is to go with learning networking and Linux first, because that'll help you in the long run. So here's some educational sites as well that you can look through. These are open source. You can go to Try Hack Me, which is one of my personal favorites. Then you can go to Hack the Box, which offers some very detailed and intricate boxes, CTS, Vuln Hub, Immersive Labs, Pen Tester Academy. All of these offer things that you can do and physically get your hands on and start typing at the keyboard to do. Like I said, they even offer annual CTS, which are capture the flag events, where you can get with a large group or run it solo to where you can actively hack and find exploits. Okay, so now we talked about education and certifications. So what do you do to keep yourself current? What I always suggest is make sure that you keep yourself always in the loop through these great organizations. The CISO alerts and advisories, you can get on their mailing list. You can set yourself up with any sort of way to get that information in the SAM's Internet Storm Center. I also suggest 3 of my favorites, which are Security Week, Hacker News, and Dark Reading. They all offer in-depth articles to where different vulnerabilities, different recommendations. I had to add it because it's my favorite thing that I did. You can even do it to where if you don't want to get all these emails, automate it. Use webhooks, do things like all the ones that were just said. All of these articles go into something to where you can download a Discord bot, which takes the RSS feeds of them, and then you can put it into your own Discord server here, and they will, every time one is posted, it'll show right there. Super fun little thing. You don't have to do it, but I enjoy doing that to where it's not just slamming my mailbox. Then you can start exploring open source tools. You can start using Nuclei. Great thing by ProjectDiscovery. You can sit there, and once you start getting targets, or you get approval, and then you get written permission, you can start using Nuclei and all of their custom templates that they use, and then you can use it to send and test different things and see how they operate. Wonderful product. Could not recommend it anymore. And then another one is Kali Linux, a dedicated security operating system that you can put on your machine, and you can just go through. Once you get, like I said, written approval with everything, you can start testing different things. They've got tools for everything from John the Ripper to all sorts of different tools to where you can do password cracking, wireless testing, everything that you would need to just dive face first in. So with that said, some final remarks is that remember that this path is a journey and not a sprint. Take your time, learn as much as you can, and we're currently in the renaissance of information. You have so much that you can do and so much that you can learn. And like I said, doing so will make you a strong security practitioner and hopefully even an ethical hacker. Thank you all so much for listening. I'm super excited for you to hear the rest of the speakers, and I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day.